I don't want to shut it.
Okay. Hey everybody, welcome to Universes Studios. I guess our first actual sit down and talk with everybody. And hey, there's a bunch of people on the screen. I'm Barrett. If you don't remember, above me is going to be Mark Tyner. Congratulations, you are the singles 2020 world champion, back-to-back cardboard winning from singles as well as 2020 teams, and obviously our very own on the channel. All the way to my left, I guess, is also another 2020 World's Champion, Scott Sundman on teams with Mark Tyner. Shane was going to join us, but he's a little busy, so we decided to roll out with him without him. And also joining me in the top left corner is who is that? Who's that? Do you guys remember who that is? Oh, I think that's Jacob Johnson. I'm pretty sure he's also on this YouTube channel, but he's
Uh,
finally made his return. And joining me in the middle, we have our very own scout for Legendary Wolf Games, Kevin Good. Good to see you, man.
Hey.
So basically today we're gonna just be talking about Worlds 2020, the final UFS Worlds, as you want to call it, as we move into the Universes era, and essentially we're gonna get thoughts, we're gonna get inside depth on how people thought of the event, not only from two of our champions, but as well as two other players, one that topped incredibly well, and Kevin that was there to support all the good friends, obviously. So yeah, how do you want to kick this off, Mr. Champion?
Oh,
Let's talk
me?
to Kevin first.
No, I was talking to Scott.
Yeah, it's talking to me, obviously.
What?
Sure, let's start with Kevin. Kevin, you're in the middle of the screen, so let's start with you.
Oh, okay.
Kevin,
All right.
how was your 2020 Worlds experience?
Rough.
Oh
But
no.
it was rough, but like it was super exciting. Like honestly, this is third major I've gone to now. This was probably the most confident one I've been at.
That's good. You played that Yoshimitsu deck, right?
I played Yoshi in teams and I played Cassandra in singles.
Okay. Just so that Mark could diversify you?
Yeah, just so
okay.
Mark could diversify me.
Okay, all right, sounds good. Well, I
a
knew
little bit of a story behind that one.
I knew. Oh, I know that story. I talked about it on stream for y'all. I thought you were gonna be playing this Yoshimitsu deck because I know you had brought it down to Kansas City actually, and a lot of people were talking it up because I felt like a lot of people in the meta as a whole were kind of sleeping on Yoshimitsu. He only got stronger with the Libra of Souls coming out, and I feel like nobody kind of started touching him back since like UK Nats is almost what it felt like.
I mean, what I played in Kansas City and the Premier Store event before theirs was a crit split Yoshimitsu deck,
Oh.
and it was not the same deck as I played in teams. It's super fun deck, but I wanted to make sure I wasn't like killing myself.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That deck can just like if you don't see your pieces, you just die.
Yeah,
to your own deck. So
Um,
I went with more of an all build.
I think the best thing I think Kevin you can tell me is the tournament as a whole. I know exactly the kind of feelings, especially with like Mark and JJ and Scott, and like I've been there myself. When you have to play top cuts, you don't actually get to enjoy the actual environment and the event as much as you kind of feel like you wish you could because you're either stressed about the games you're gonna play, in the middle of playing a game, especially when it comes to tops. So I guess I want to just ask, at what point were you just like able to enjoy the venue, or at what point were you able to enjoy the convention? I know they were in a different spot this time. Last year, even we had like a room kind of where we at least had doors.
Yeah. Last year we were in our own like little room, which reduced the extra noise, which was really nice. This year we were in the same hall as all of the booths.
Right.
So
So
we were
like the market hall, right?
yeah, pretty much all the vendors were like
Mhm.
on the other side, and we were in this like little corner. So it was kind of loud and echoey, but as far as like getting to enjoy that was pretty much Sunday. Sunday, I was just like, well, we're just gonna walk around and enjoy the scene.
So you didn't do any side events at all?
No, I just decided actually I wanted to get some stuff at all the vendors and things and
I know
geek out for a while.
I know JJ and Mark picked up some stuff.
those
I
glasses.
So get this. The vendor actually forgot to put the glasses in the red one. So I paid for the red one, and they didn't come with the glasses.
Oh no.
Whatever. He still has 4
So-
pairs. Whatever.
Speaking of, hold on, let me open this.
While he pulls out some glasses, then. Well, I hope it's good. Not that we're not here to rate Jasco. That's not the point of this. But how did it run? How did the event go? I know it was late teams night. I know it was late singles night. Can you kind of give me an insight on what that? Because my only correspondence was with Danny Tyler, with the stream setup, and other than that, I had just filled a bunch of dead air with chatting about UFS, or people would ask me a bunch of questions, and that's kind of what I did. But like, y'all played for over 12 hours on Friday, and you guys played for over 12 hours on Saturday, and I guess nobody really knew what kind of happened. So how did the event go? Like the event run?
Looking from the inside, I mean, grand picture, everything ran. It seemed fine to me.
Okay.
Like we could sit here and nitpick a bunch of little things, like the timer, or just like trying to dogpile the pairings, or like
yeah,
there's little things here and
I mean,
there that
it's
you
a
can
busier.
nitpick.
You're in a space. It's
Right.
a busier hall. I don't even know where you put the timer on a screen. I don't even because
Well-
I know exactly what hall you're talking about, and I don't know where it would go.
How they were doing the timer was, I believe, the Dragon Ball timer and the UFS timer were on the same screen. They were just separated.
Yeah.
Okay.
The little confusion we had was we had a card game. I don't remember the name of it. It might have been Argent Saga.
Yep.
Yeah.
Next
it was
to
Ardent
us?
Saga.
And they were calling their time really
Yep.
close to ours, and it was
Oh.
causing these awkward interactions where some players thought our time was being called like 2 or 3 minutes before time actually was, and it
That was
made
me.
it made for like a few awkward rounds.
I remember walking up to Kevin in one of the rounds, and
was round
he
one.
they were like ending their games when they had like 3 minutes left. I was like,
Yeah.
"What are you guys doing?" Like,
It was round
I was
one with
watching the
Wood
end
and
of it.
Brian. I was playing as Kotalcon, and I could have tied it up, but like we both thought time was done. We heard the time go off. We couldn't see the timer. Like,
Yeah, that's rough.
yeah.
That's kind of gross.
Yeah.
And I the only thing I
before-
heard. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Before we nitpick, I do want to thank Jasco, because Jasco did a fantastic job with this. Same with Legendary Wolf providing the. Everything was done fantastic. It ran much more smoothly than other events. The only personal nitpick besides the timer was it did take a very long time in between rounds to get pairings, and
they did have a reason for that though.
From what I heard, the only thing I heard was that 150 people were played in singles, and we had 42 teams, so that's 126 people.
Yep.
So when it comes to that many people, and from what not the excuse, but the reasoning why I heard was that because there were so many people and you have an hour to play, and I heard there was also a bunch of new people that just like picked up the game and started playing that day.
Yeah, we had a couple of those.
You had so many people that would go to rounds, or go to time, sorry, and then they would stay in time for like an extra 15, 20, sometimes 25 minutes, because our current ruling for UFS, if you go to times, there's no urgency. It's literally each player gets 1 or 2 turns, and if you're at a high caliber player and you don't want that draw and you would rather win the game, you're going to take your freaking time and you're going to try and win the game. And those overtimes kind of scenarios took so long.
Yeah, so some of those overtimes took a lot of time. We probably had between 20 and 30 minutes between every round, which added an extra probably 3 hours to our day.
Right.
In all seriousness, there was an idea thrown around with some of the more veteran players that we should implement, not necessarily it's not untimed, but telling those players when time is, you are expected to treat those final rounds as if it was still in a timed fashion, and if you take too long doing it, you will get called for slow playing and can get DQ'd. And you could get like a warning for slow playing if you take too long after time, and if you get a second warning, you could get a game loss.
I could see in a scenario, because honestly, I believe it's the same way for Bushiroad, right, JJ? You'll have to clarify for me. It's been a while.
Bushiroad has 10 minutes.
Yeah, and that's new though. That's not what the rule used
It's
to be.
5 turns, 10 minutes. If you go past that 10 minutes, you both get a game. You both lose.
It's
no matter what.
double loss instead of like a draw, because they don't do draws. But and that's a newer rule because of that exact reason. These large Vanguard tournaments would take so long because people would go to time, and then it used to be
They would try and plan out a kill turn that took forever.
Yeah, and then it's three turns, 0, 1, 2, 3, right? And then out of those turns, someone would try and either slow calculate these kind of math plays, because Vanguard's really just a bunch of math. It's not actually like hard to super play. Not to offend anybody that plays it, but like but anyway, essentially they would take so long and it would just take forever. And then so they basically had to come out with that, and it was on top of also a sudden death rule where it was like whoever had more damage kind of thing. But I get that. It's interesting because our game is going to grow. If when MHA comes out, and Jason even said on the video, like 5 to 6 times more people at next Worlds a year from now, essentially, like no one's looking to play Universus until 3 o'clock in the morning.
No.
Nobody. I don't. And that there's a lot of other precautions, right? But even it's like splitting the tournament across 2 days, but then you have to worry about teams. Like there's a whole lot of other implications that we can't really talk about until we figure out what's going on. But I think that sort of solution kind of fixes itself as we get more judges to watch people that are in overtime. So I kind of understand that dilemma, and I can understand why that being overtime. But I can't imagine you 4 being there on singles night, not even getting your top cut announcement until midnight 30. Like that's crazy. Like I know Scott packed up and left. He's all like, "Let me know if I top."
It was a very late night, followed by an early morning, and another late.
So
night.
one other thing with that, like 30 minutes in between, I know that they were keeping track of record of what each character played was doing, like 2-1, 2-0.
They were trying to, at least, yeah.
Yeah, they try to do that for every round.
Mm-hmm.
Just to know what the problem characters are for like who is 2-0ing everybody.
It was something they wanted internally, but I'm hoping that wasn't what affected.
No, I don't think that was really affecting what.
I'm just saying it might have affected like 5 minutes of it. Like,
it's actually really poor Scott. Scott's over there falling asleep. I think it's actually really good that they track that, because that kind of tracking has to do with how volatile is going first versus second. That's the kind of information they're trying to find out, which is nice and I think healthy for the card game. But as an event as a whole, it's really hard to stay healthy as a player of the game when you have such ungodly hours like you guys did this past weekend.
That timing thing is something they're gonna have to look into, like you said, with like my hero, and like
they have to change their
as we move forward, because we're gonna get like even bigger, and maybe something that the other thing I thought of was it's time to update that software.
Oh, that's been due for years. But yeah. Okay, so then moving on, we're gonna do teams first. So I'm gonna go to Scott. As one of our champions. Scott, congratulations for winning back-to-back Team Cardboard, by the way.
Thanks.
That's
almost as good as winning singles back-to-back.
Almost, but it's interesting. I'm just kidding. Mark, we all know you're good. I'm not here to talk about Mark because everybody knows that Mark is to be feared. But, like, Scott, I feel like you've always been good at this game. At least I've acknowledged that you're good at this game back in the Las Vegas PTC when JJ and I had to fight against you, basically. And like that was at the cusp of a really volatile meta, and through this meta you have still stuck with Spike 1, which is honestly incredibly really like cool, and I know it's your kind of character, so that's why it's kind of perfect as well. But the reason why I want to say it's super impressive that you got back-to-back teams wins is because it wasn't even your same team. You completely swapped over with new people. And you even played against your former teammate at some point. In top 4, right? Was that top 4 you played against them?
I don't think we ever played against them because that was Tam's team. We never
played
against
them. You're right. Played against
You're right. You played against the Benz. You played the Benz and Trent. You're right. I remember. Sorry. I thought I was looking and I thought you guys played against each other. So tell me about teams as a whole. You can start with rounds. You can start with the day because that was when everything opened as well. So
teams ran smoothly. It seemed.
Okay.
I don't know what else to say. Like Actually, my team lineup as far as characters has only had one change. Last on November it was Spike 1, Raptor, Tim. This year it was Spike 1, Tim, Cassandra. Big different.
Well,
Not that big of a
Yeah,
difference.
Gil. You had Gil.
Gil.
And you're right. I think meta-wise,
Gil.
that's not a very big difference because I think at that point everybody acknowledged, oh, Raptor, since Nats when Mark won with Gil, oh, Raptor might not be as good anymore because a character like Gil exists. So I think that's a pretty easy slot in.
I don't know.
Why do you say that? Did something happen?
I don't know who's really good that's playing Raptor right now, so I don't know if I
okay.
would say Raptor's not that good anymore.
I
think it might be that no one good is playing
I only
Raptor.
had 2 losses during teams, and one was to a.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'll see. He's still good.
Yeah.
I lost to Raptor with that Cassandra deck.
Yeah. Flash will always be impressive.
Yeah.
He's still S tier.
Yeah. Which is interesting because
A tier.
I know Ashley during singles was the highest seeded Raptor going in, and then I don't know her individual story on how she might have
I
fallen
think she went
short.
X3, right?
Yeah, but
But she started high though at the beginning of the
was
tournament.
not playing Raptor in the teams.
I have no idea.
She wasn't. I lost to Keenan on her team playing Raptor.
So then, okay, fine. As a whole, kind of goes new team by one character, but I mean, you got Shane and Mark with you now.
Yes.
And
it was
climb.
the funniest team.
I went from having people with no history of like with topping or winning events to 2 of the most well-known players at the time.
I guess. Do you think that was a
big contract?
Do you think that was more impactful for like Swiss specifically, or do you think it was more of an impact?
It made my game matter a lot less.
I know exactly that feeling being on a team with JJ.
Whoa!
God,
I don't think
I
don't
did
think
get
I
a
ever-
loss in teams at this event.
Well, no, it's more so I know exactly what Scott's talking about because it's not so much that you necessarily feel like your games matter a lot less, but that overwhelming feeling you get when like one of your teammates, like, oh, I 2-0'd my opponent, and you're like, oh, there's not this humongous pressure on me right now to win. Versus, I'm sure Scott, I think you might have felt that in top 4 when I think your game was the last one to go, or was it?
So
I always finish my game last on my team.
Yeah, Scott played very well all weekend, but out of our
Except for one round.
Except for that one.
out of our like 12 games, he didn't have to finish like 9 of them.
I know that feeling too.
But the 3 he did have to finish, he did very well, and he played very smart.
I did my job.
That's what matters. That's how you win cardboard. That's how you win teams cardboard. When you win when you have to.
Yeah, and that was a perfect example of like when we got to top 4, Shane, our strongest player, lost 2-0 immediately by a 9, and we had to pull out some very strong games.
That exact same thing happened to me, I think, also in top 4. Yeah, same exact thing. I was playing against Phil, Shoemaker, Dave, and at the time I was considered the best on my team, and I lost my round and had to count on both of my teammates winning.
And they pulled it through.
Yeah, they did.
Even though that JJ and I's team smashed y'all in Swiss. I want everybody. That's on the record, by the way. We did smash them in Swiss.
We did smash them.
I think we were their only loss in Swiss.
Congratulations in that case.
PP Boy tried to take me on. I missile launched him to death with Raptor.
And Brian Harris tried to take me on and pop.
Good job.
And we didn't even top at that event, so
Nope,
it's
no, we
whatever.
didn't. Yep. Oh, well.
We bubbled.
I forgot what Mark did that event.
Mark played something.
I forgot what you played. That doesn't matter. That's not what we're talking. We're not talking about nationals. We're talking about worlds. Okay, so like that's. I mean, I think that's really awesome to be honest, because like that is the epitome of what makes a team win the cardboard is exactly what we're talking about. Because I think JJ and I faced that same exact situation the first teams that me and him played with Mason, and it was when it came down in top 4, that match that we had to win. That was the one that we didn't get, and that was mainly a blunder on us for probably pairings. But
we also had a proto man on our team, so it was a little.
But when it came down, like specific, like I know on the stream I was talking about like, okay, well, you guys get to pair first because you're the higher seed. It was very cool that 3rd and 4th seed were the ones that continued on, so y'all were 3rd seed and you got to play against 4th seed out of a top 4. I thought that was great. I thought it was also interesting that you guys played singles finals before doing teams, and that was after Shane had lost to Phil Birch's Scorpion deck. And so
Well, no, they did top 4 before the finals.
Yeah.
They did do singles finals afterwards.
What I'm saying,
it only took 10.
Yeah, sorry, you're right, sorry. But okay, top 4 singles. Shane had to play Phil, playing Tim Keefe versus Scorpion, and then y'all played teams finals against Phil Birch's team, and Shane was playing Tim Keefe and Phil was playing Scorpion. And so at that point, I'm like, I really hope they don't pair that into. Not that I don't think Shane could like still do a good job and try and win it a second chance, but it was probably a little scary having just played against it.
It was a pretty long break in between because they had to transfer locations right after that. So like they went from the convention to the Joliseum to play finals.
Right. Oh, I know. I had to wait.
I had to walk around for a long time because they did that.
Yeah.
Because Mark and Shane had games to play, but I didn't. So I'm waiting for whenever they want to say, let's start teams.
That was a good break.
But I think they did 2 or 3 single rounds before they got back to teams.
Yeah, which was very odd because in the past that's not how it's ever been done.
It was really strange, especially for me playing 2 different characters in both events. It was really hard to jump between teams and then singles and then singles and then teams.
Well, you just had
I think your singles deck was pretty easy, huh?
Listen, I commentated your teams finals and your singles finals game, Mark. You finished both of those matches probably about the same amount of time, whether it was Gil or Cassandra behind that deck. I don't want to hear how difficult it was to play the 2 different characters.
You played the easiest 2 characters.
I kept wanting to respawn draw with Cassandra really bad. And then I'd have to look at my hand, see I already had 7 cards, and this wasn't the same character.
But you sideboarded Cassandra in teams, so.
I never sided it.
I know, I assumed.
It was like Spike. I don't know why I sided it. I even played against a Shinnok, the matchup I was supposed to side it for, and I was like, I beat them game 1, and I was like, why would I side game 2?
That's awesome. Any big shout-outs? Any cool decks y'all saw in teams? We'll get to singles later, but...
Ooh.
Just Dimitri.
Oh, that beat your butt? That's what I heard?
Destroyed him. Oh, it was beautiful.
Garrison's Dimitri.
Garrison.
I was sitting right next to you when that happened.
So, best deck I saw in team was on Trent's team, the 10 attack Voldo deck that was.
I agree.
I heard about this running around.
That deck was hype.
I got destroyed by it in Swiss. It was our only loss in Swiss, I believe. When I got destroyed by it, and Scott lost to N9, we played it again in tops, and I played against Voldo again in tops, and it should have beat me. It was that consistent, and it was a very well thought out. The only saving grace was I'm a second, and he formed.
It says it on your mat, I know.
He formed Coinma's task on me and named Shield Big Bang, and then named Downward Spiral. So he searched my deck and took the Shield Big Bangs out and pulled 2 or 3 Downward Spirals out of his deck and tried to fail the last check by 1. I drew my hand for turn. I drew a Shield Big Bang that he missed on the Coinma and killed him with it.
What? How did I hear about this?
What?
That definitely happened. He forgot to remove one of the Shield Big Bangs, and then Mark killed him with it.
Probably because you would have had a heart attack in the middle of teams, Scott, if you just heard about this right now.
And I drew. He had the Guardian out to kill an attack, and I drew double over the top Shield Big Bang Shotgun Revoke. So I drew like the out to his board, and I was like, I played the Shield Big Bang, and he went, "That's not supposed to be in your deck," and I was like, well, I didn't look through my deck, and it was definitely crazy. So,
man, I would like to know that ruling if that actually matters, but
I'll look it up. I never read Coinma's task when he told me. So
I don't think you made Scott very happy right now, though.
it was.
Oh, you're trying to say that you also cheated for your cardboard? Oh my goodness!
Well, I didn't cheat. It says they looked through my deck. I wasn't supposed to know my outs.
I agree. That's totally on them. That's probably a different story that they have to, discuss internally.
But I had the shotgun too. He would have died to.
It doesn't say up to.
Uh-oh.
There's a fail to find rule in Magic. That's what matters.
Oh, that's fair.
It's from a closed zone, so it probably won't.
You're not allowed to confirm.
Yeah, it'd probably be around the same thing as if with Gauge, I can fail to search my deck.
Yeah, that's what Scott just said. Yeah. So you guys have cardboard. It's legitimate. It's okay. Everything's fine. But I'm glad you did explain that.
Yeah, I have cardboard as well. Everything's legitimate.
We're in Slaughter while we're on the subject.
Yeah.
We're 90% sure that works.
When we thought Verdant Slaughter didn't work for half a second after the tournament, and everyone thought I'd been juking players for 12 rounds by commit flip cards saying what it did, and we never used any answer.
It's true. No one tried.
No one's
even tried in teams. No one tried in teams either.
They were like, "What if you've been doing that?" I was like, "That's their fault. They should have called a judge."
You bluffed your way to a championship. That's what it is. Then you played 4 copies of a card just to bluff your opponent.
Flip. Says it can't leave.
It says it can't leave, man.
It does say that. I guess I'll tap these Guardians to pass my block.
Oh my goodness, I can't. This is 2020 Worlds. What's it called when you like spill the beans on everything behind the camera on reality TV?
We open the can.
I don't remember what it's called. I'm looking at Verdant Slaughter right now. Stat cannot leave the card pool during the combat phase and does not clear. I mean that's what it says. So
yeah,
that's what I would say.
I wouldn't try and respond.
Here's what I would say if I
have a question.
It becomes a new attack when you play it, but it's like a game state ruling, so it's like so fine meshed. Like I don't even know the rule. I just know.
Yeah, apparently if you make it not count towards progressive as well, it doesn't count towards progressive for the turn as well.
So it's on a 4 always? No, it'd still be on a 5.
No, it'd still be on a 5.
Oh, okay, you're right. Sorry.
But like if you played stuff later.
What's your question, Scott?
Okay, so one thing about your story that doesn't make sense to me, Mark. So he knows there's like one missing shield Big Bang. So wouldn't he just assume it's in your hand? If he pulls out 2 or like 3 shield Big Bangs to remove them from the game, and there's one left unaccounted for, wouldn't he just assume it's in your hand?
What? No. You mean he wouldn't assume it was in my hand when turn?
When Cohen was tasked.
Yeah, because they only get to look through your decks. Like if it's already in your hand, you get to keep that copy.
He knew it wasn't in my hand. I got triple downward spiraled.
It didn't
have it.
Different. Okay.
I didn't have one.
That's fair. You're right. I forgot.
So he should have. It's really his. He should have looked to make sure there's 4 accounted for, like in the RFB.
I could have been playing 3.
He just thought you were playing 3, I guess.
Yeah, like he just searched. He's like name Shield Bang.
Should have taken his time. It's not timed.
He pulled 2 of them out, so I assumed there was 2 in my disc. And then I drew one, didn't even think about it, and played it. And he went, "You're not supposed to have that." And I was like,
I didn't look through my deck.
I didn't look through my deck.
Oh my lord, y'all!
Can't fight that. I'm just saying, like
this video's gonna have the most amount of dislikes I've ever seen. This is crazy. Oh my gosh, because I didn't know any of this. This is nuts. Apparently, Scott didn't. Your teammate didn't know this, Mark.
I knew it.
Yeah,
I saw it happen.
Scott is losing his mind because he's like, I'm not supposed to have this piece of cardboard right now.
There was like that, and then the checking the Maze Castle against Shane, like were my biggest sack plays of the event.
I don't know if that one was on stream. I remember you playing.
Okay, I'll lay it out for you, right? I'll lay it out. He had already sealed 2 things.
Mm-hmm.
I had the card that flipped, discard a card, pick up an asset.
Yeah.
And the card that builds an asset still active. He had flipped 2 other things. I was at 4, and he played a power flip that I knew he was going to play a Dark Chirito after. I was like, I'm dead. There's no outs to this. So I flipped, discarded a Swordfish, picked up an Oak Shield. I had an Oak Shield and a Police Connections in hand.
Right.
I flipped in the Swordfish the power flip. Played the Dark Chirito, multiple 2'd it, and I had these 2 mid blocks and a Cormorant on board. I was like, well, I guess I lose. I checked with Cassandra. and I checked a base castle.
Oh, to change the zone to it.
He built it in, and he had 1 momentum and I had 2. So I dipped a momentum to make it a mid, blocked with the Cormorant and Breakered.
Yeah.
Next one, he could have changed the zone, but I had the Oak Shield to take 1 from half blocking, no matter what he changed. So I made it a mid, blocked it, and then blocked the last one and took. And he was like, I just sacked him because I had to hit it on that first Shirito.
Wow. Gotcha.
Yeah, it was pretty intense, our game.
that wasn't tops though. That was
right before.
That was second to last round.
Okay, I was gonna say because you played against Rando in top.
It was the round I got Bob from Takeda on stream.
Oh
that
yeah,
same round.
that Takeda deck was the baby of baby of the worlds. Just so you know.
I know.
Everybody in my chat was like, "I'm building this deck. I'm building this deck. I'm building this deck."
Everyone loved the Takeda deck.
Man, dude, there's nothing I could do about it. Game 3, he drew the nuts on me.
He drew anytime he sat on stream, JJ. He drew like 5 orange cards on like his turn 2 or 3 or whatever. The one that he needed orange, he would draw 5 of them, and it was like, huh, like what's the point of Flame Sword in this deck if you just draw it all?
Also playing that one Bakugo card, discard 2, draw 2.
No, I didn't see it at
He
all.
wasn't playing that. Nope.
Having to play Flame Sword.
I don't think I was very surprised that Rekish Shingeki wasn't even like a 1 of in the deck because it was under fire. But
For the infinite, yeah.
Yeah, and instead he was playing 2 Flame Swords. I don't disagree with you, Scott. I think that's actually a really good call to play that because I personally don't like Flame Sword, especially when it takes up either your once per turn for Takeda or as the SRK, which you're not going to pick it for. It's like a YOLO.
You have to discard a weapon card too. So like, why would you want to discard an attack most likely?
Do that.
Well, he was playing a bunch of weapon foundations, so
He
he
had
could
2.
so he
He had
could
2
combo.
weapon foundations.
It's Stolen Sword and the one Mitsurugi one.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, that's enough. You discard that to draw 2. That's fine.
There's no space in the deck. If I
There's no
showed you my
space.
deck, there's like no space. All the cards are really important.
There's no space at all. And don't get me wrong, there were times where I didn't think he was going to make it. There was, I don't remember what game it was, but it was during Swiss when the first time that deck came up. Or it was the second time when the deck came up because we already knew what it did. And that he sacked on a Takeda Mill just to put cards in his discard pile and sacks an Exploding Flame Roar for lethal. It was the most savage thing I've ever seen.
Wasn't that against me?
I don't know if it was against you, but it was not against you. It was definitely someone else, but it was.
No, he blocked Uniting the Cosmos off the top against
that's
me.
What it was. That was a good one.
Yeah.
There was one where it was like I'll Takeda Mill, and it was like on some crappy kunai that like didn't matter, but the opponent didn't have a low
the
block.
one of kunai that he had, the random low attack.
No, I thought he played like 3 copies of kunai.
Only one of that thing.
Well, he saw it every game.
I definitely counted it. I was like, oh, this is a one of.
Regardless, flipped an Exploding Flame Roar off the top. It was hilarious, and I was like, well, that's how you win a game.
I had to play him twice, once in singles and once in top.
That deck was crazy. I know a lot of people, which is so interesting because like you play against Profane Sanctuary and that deck doesn't work, and that's exactly what happened in Top Cuts. I think he played against Phil, right? And
no,
he beat everyone. I'm the one that
you knocked him out.
Top.
Yeah, he lost to.
He lost the Ominous Prophecy.
He beat Dave and he beat.
It was against Dave. That's what it was. Sorry, in the game, it was the game that Dave beat him because Profane Sanctuary just turned off his character basically and SRK. So yeah, you're right. It was the Dave match that I saw. So yeah, that was interesting. Teams as a whole, guys. Anything y'all want to shout out? And then we'll move on.
It was fantastic.
I played way better in teams.
That's good. I mean,
Okay,
I would hope because you topped in teams and did it in singles.
I also had 2 different theories. So in teams, I played a really techie deck with that it's basically hand cannon the deck.
Yeah.
And I just took out the hand cannons and played shotguns and time slows and kill my opponent as fast as I can in singles, and it didn't work at all.
Yeah, I could see that.
All 3 matches I lost in singles. I wish I had hand cannon.
Yep. I mean, when I played Spike, which was a different meta, so it doesn't really matter, but like there were multiple times where I wish my hand cannons were main boarded because instead of doing what you were doing, like it was the kind of sound like I played like the Vengeance of the Fallen Angels just so I was like, all right, I'm gonna kill people, and all of my hand cannons were sideboarded, and there were multiple times where I was like, why didn't I just main this? Like, there's no reason not to, I guess. So I totally get that feeling. Singles, JJ, I'm gonna go to you because you didn't win, so yours will
Yeah.
your story will be short-lived. But you played Quan Chi, which was very interesting because y'all don't like to communicate with me as much as I would like for you to tell me what you're playing. And so here I thought Mark was over here gonna play Gale. Don't get me wrong, we talked about Earth Cassandra. I remember Mark and I were recording videos, and he's like, I'm building this Earth Cassandra deck, or sorry, we were gonna test out this Earth Cassandra deck, and if it beat Gale, you said you might just play that. And I guess the moral of the story is you built it and it beat Gil. So
Okay, so here's the story. He built this 80 card Earth Cassandra deck. Okay,
It was like 68 cards, and he keeps calling it 80 cards.
80 card Earth Cassandra deck. And he
get it.
gets sick of playing it. And so I pick it up and I make it 59 plus character to make it consistent. I decide I'm going to play that for Worlds. And so that's a deck I only practice playing the whole week.
Right.
Whole 2 weeks.
Against Mark, because y'all always
against Mark. I could beat Gil. It was pretty 50-50 with Gil because he could live through the big kill turns.
It's the worst matchup. It's your worst matchup.
Well, it was 50-50 with Quan Chi, too.
It was 50-50 with Quan Chi just because Quan Chi had a bunch of answers.
Yeah.
So you had to see your pieces with Verdant and Shintenketsu's at hand and all that stuff.
So why didn't you play it then, JJ?
Because Mark,
No.
night I have a text. Okay, Mark says, "Hey, I do say, man, Cassandra's really wearing me out. I might play Quan Chi." That's what I tell him before I leave.
This is what he says to me the night before, which gets me thinking. Well, if he wants to play Quan Chi and I'm not playing Quan Chi tomorrow, I'll play that Cassandra deck because I do love that Cassandra, and it's sick.
So he messages me, "Hey, if you're not playing Cassandra, I would love to. Let me know tonight and lay it out for me if you aren't." So I'm like, well, if he really wants to, he can. That's fine. I'll play this Yin and Yang Quan Chi deck I got over here.
Which looked incredibly sick when I saw it on stream.
It was super
really
fun
cool.
to play.
So shoutouts to that too. We can get onto that. Okay, but here's my thing. That doesn't answer my initial question. Why not Gil, Mark? Nope, not two people.
Better.
Two people play. Like, do you believe that, Mark? Do you believe that Cassandra is better than Gil?
With the deck I played was the best deck in the meta.
I cannot disagree. I can't disagree with that statement, but my problem
I think it
is
was the best deck in the tournament.
Okay, and
If I would have played
after
Gil,
watching it, I would agree with you.
Yeah, that was the best deck in the tournament, and I knew it was better than Gil, and I knew it was easier to have answers than Gil. Like, Gil's sick, but that Cassandra deck was a little more, so I played it.
Fair. Here's my other question. JJ, why not Gil? If you knew that Mark wasn't going to play Gil, why didn't you play that deck?
I really hate playing Gil.
That's fine. That's fine. I know Mark said on the record, I played this deck so that Shield's Big Bang would get banned.
The Quan Chi deck was so hyped that someone had to play it. If he was playing Cassandra, there's no way I was going to play Gil and not play that Quan Chi.
When I added the Yin and Yangs and the 4 reversals, JJ was over there.
Did you know that I lost a round to Mark? He wouldn't have been undefeated if I wouldn't have made a deal with him before we started. Okay, so before we started, I had counters in the Cassandra deck for Quan Chi, and he put Yin and Yang to counter the Cassandra deck for Quan Chi. When we play in rounds, we made a deal that I could only use one Yin and Yang at a time, and he couldn't use fatality responses to kill my characters.
This was a deal we made before the tournament, which we've never played in a tournament anyway.
We've never played, so I'm like, whatever, we won't play.
Into each other.
This is some shady shit, guys.
Round 3, we get paired. I have double Yin and Yang right when I could have ended his kill turn, game 1, and I'm like, well, I'm not a scumbag. I only responded one of them, and I died that turn. And then I sided all of them out because I didn't want to have that moment again.
I sided out my tower.
You guys are such trolls. This is okay. I'm glad y'all have so much stories about this, though. I mean, you all I mean, you two specifically, I guess, you guys did hug each other like at the top tables like all day. So like it was bound to happen as you guys like narrowed down.
Oh yeah.
Mark, Swiss champ. I believe that's your first time doing that. How'd that feel?
Pretty good. I'm used to losing my first round and then going undefeated the rest of the day.
Climbing a loser's bracket. I know what that's like.
Yeah.
That's what I did in Las Vegas.
That's what I've been doing all
That's how you
year.
play the game.
So every game I won, I was like, now I can lose the next one and then still win out. And then like I win the next one, I'd be like, well, now I can lose the next, still win out. And then like I did that until I was 8-0. Around round 5, me and Jake turned into douchebags and started putting our record on our glass.
I saw. Don't worry. I saw it when JJ bought him and put it on Snapchat.
Oh, I still feel bad for what I did to Bueno. Okay, so round 5, I'm playing against Brandon Bueno with these glasses on. My record says 4-1. In game 2, when I draw my kill turn,
you go ahead and
to
change
kill
it on
him,
your phone.
I changed my glasses before playing any attacks to 5-1, and then I killed him. I still feel bad, Bueno. If you watch this, I'm sorry. I'll never do it again, but it was hilarious.
All these nice things I said about you guys on stream, I'm starting to regret.
To do that.
Whoa, Bueno's a troll to me, okay? He even angry faced my random message in this chat right now.
Say that again, Scott. What's up?
I said, isn't looking at your phone in the middle of a round illegal?
Yeah. No electronics, my dudes.
Whoa.
Got me.
So you did break rules.
Yeah, I fucking cheated at the UK Nets on accident too. Got me.
Okay, then. I guess when it comes to specifically the tournament, is there singles decks shout-outs? I know a lot of people like this Dark One deck, but
I didn't get as
I never saw the Dark One deck played at all. The Shinnok list was pretty cool, spicy.
Garrison Benel's
Yeah,
one?
so it was his Dimitri deck, but he made changes. I told him to add covert intent.
Thanks.
Which he
Because
did.
he wasn't running it in the other, like he wasn't running it in his Dimitri deck. I was like, why don't you have covert intent so you like auto win with this deck? And he added it, and it worked really well with Shinnok.
If I had hand cannon, I would have beat it.
Yeah, pretty much. You messed up.
Sucks.
That was your fault.
My fault.
Does hand cannon beat forward intent though?
Yeah.
Yes.
It'll clear hand cannon. It just won't clear your pool.
No, because
You have 2 coverts you can get around it.
our pool
Wait.
clears first, like
got it.
hockey. So you get to clear hand cannon and then card.
I just don't know what Casa just.
Oh,
destroyed it,
actually, yeah, you're correct. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, Scott, you were.
It actually will beat it. It will beat it.
Yeah,
Because Taki does beat it, and you can pick order.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can pick what order.
if you clear them
trust
both
me.
at the same time, turn player gets to pick one.
Trust me, if anybody knows, Scott knows that Taki beats hand cannon. Okay. Any other decks? Y'all like specifically, Kevin? Did you play against someone that you're like, yeah, this is nuts?
There was one I was really curious about because I never got to see the Zazamel.
I didn't get to see it either.
It was just posted the list like a little while ago.
Yeah,
It was
is
a
on
punch and
Facebook.
Judy deck. It was
Oh,
Jupiter Jazz. You pick up Jupiter Jazz for free, and then you punch a Judy and kill
Yes,
your.
I love that deck.
Oh,
I
that's
said that was gonna be a deck back on freaking the Guile treatment a
Because
long
it's like
time
what
ago.
17 speed for 30.
Yeah, because you give it the 12 damage from the punches, but then you give it the extra damage from the speed difference because there's also Lamel. So it's always
Actually seems
lethal
pretty
against
good.
any character.
I know Tam lost to it. He told me you did.
If you guys wanted to know, I was talking mad hype on this Dark One deck. Like the chat wanted to see Dark One so bad. Because at the beginning of the stream on singles, I was like, okay guys, let's talk about these DLC characters because the list came out of players and there was one Bell, which was Aaron Cook, who is not a bad player, and so like I was like, if he brought this deck, it's because he refined it enough to feel confident, and he started very strong. There was like 2 Sky Mathers, there was 2 Dark Ones, and there was no Van Helsing, and so I was like, all right, chat, how many DLC characters will make top cuts? And which ones do you think it'll be? And I said 2. And I said I think it would be Dark One and Bell. And I was right on the 2 because 1 got diversified, which counts. And Dark One was it. But anyway, I was talking up this Dark One deck because Mark, you and JJ had described to me this initial Dark One deck y'all had made, essentially, and like what it does. And I was like, no, listen, guys, I already know what this deck does because of what Mark and JJ have told me. Let me explain it. And then we got it on stream because we specially requested it, and it was exactly that deck, except they played it under Evil.
Yeah, they played the True Identity loop. You can keep using True Identity for every Ultra.
Was really crazy, but I think that deck lost because it had too many bad checks in it. And I think the nice thing about the fire build, which I was telling them on stream, was that you have missile launchers, which are only 3 checks instead of 2 checks in the deck because you're Dark One, and that card's just as good. The only sacrifice you get is they get Princess Parry as well as True Identity.
Yeah. So you get the True Identity is the real key. Lets you go way in. You get Combustion Orb under fire though.
You get Combustion Orb under either.
Does Combustion have Evil?
He got Hellgate Executioner under Evil.
Yeah.
Okay.
Combustion Orb has all.
He was playing Let's Party too, wasn't he?
Yeah, but you get that under either. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
but Shane played against it on stream. And the Hellgate Executioner playing against Tim Keefe was actually pretty important, and it was a nice, really good tech for it. My problem was that I didn't think you needed Hellgate Executioner and Combustion Orb in the same deck.
The coolest thing about the Dark One attack that I saw from the multiple decks playing was you would mill your deck, draw all these cards, and when you thought you had a kill turn in your hand, you would remove every attack from your discard pile and cycle, so you had nothing but 5 checks on your deck, and you'd pass your entire kill.
I like that. That's pretty hype. The other reason why I didn't like the Evil deck was because you didn't get to play SRK, and so he was playing the foundation that was Dark Ones, but you can never set it up. It was just actually a sack check. And that's why I like the fire. So I talked up the deck, and I was only able to talk it up because you two had incited me on the Dark One. And so I was able. People were like, "The Dark One? What is this character do?"
I thought about playing that guy.
I was like, no, don't underestimate it. I don't think it'll win, but this deck's gonna go. And then when Sam Tate was doing so well with it, it was pretty great. Anything specific about top cuts for you two?
I got sacked by Shane.
That's okay. It happens. Mark, you won the whole thing. Shout outs. Good stuff. I mean, I know you played a busted deck, so like.
Yeah, like that deck didn't have a whole lot of tough matchups. Shane was my hardest match. Shane and JJ.
That game 1 against Miles Tyler, I would say I was telling people, I was like, if you ever ask Mark after this tournament, I was like, and you ask him, hey, what was your hardest match today? I was like, probably game 1 against Miles Tyler because I didn't think.
See, I don't think that. It's just that he didn't draw the Shield Big Bang. So like,
I know.
That's all it was.
That was just bad RNG because I opened triple Shield Big Bang.
I know, and you've reviewed it.
And then didn't draw one all game. And we didn't see the fatality mid game. That's where I kind of won because he couldn't remove the 3 right away. So I kind of just milled myself until I was through and then I just really couldn't draw it. So I had to build up the kill turn to draw it with the overleas.
Yeah.
Which was just an alternate game plan. But that was the closest I came to decking out. I didn't deck out all the hard deck that made checks, which was surprisingly.
But like almost, I think every time you were on stream, you did flip once. I think almost consistently because it just happens when you go through your deck building in 59 plus characters. So like,
it just always happens when you make 3 checks on every attack in a 60 card deck. It's just gonna happen.
Yeah. Awesome. Is there anything else y'all specifically want to talk about? Do you guys want to talk about the promos they showed? Do you want to?
We need to give a super fantastic shout out to our sponsors.
Oh yeah, we can do that. That's
fine. Miles Tyler and Danny did such a great job this weekend, making sure that everyone had a stream, making sure people could view the stream, and they tried their hardest. They've always done their best to make sure players who were there got their cards on time and got their cards at their event.
And your mats and your jerseys. And they
look very
good.
It's very impressive to do it in like a week and a half.
Scott, I respect the Maze Castle choice, by the way.
I'd like from us to just give them a great thank you for everything they did for us. So
I will also do my shout outs for them as well. I could not have done my commentary stream without them. Danny also being a great correspondent for me to talk to was great. I did do a lot of thanking as well on stream. Shout outs to Brandon Bueno for donating his phone and his
Yeah.
50 gigabytes of data for us to have internet for
The real
singles and top cuts.
MVP of that
Yeah,
event.
like I wouldn't have been able to do anything. Danny and Tyler, Danny and Miles wouldn't have been able to do anything without Brandon Bueno donating his phone either. So like, that was super nice of him, and he didn't have to do it. And I had a blast. I loved everybody that came out and watched. I will forever have those VODs on the channel for people to watch. I'm going to upload them to the channel and create a separate playlist so people can go and watch them. And honestly, I just saw some really great UFS. Like, I think the meta is definitely in a weird spot, especially when a deck like yours, Mark, showing up and taking the whole thing. Like, but I still saw some really unique stuff I never would have talked about at all. It was very interesting that there were only 2 gills. It was very interesting that not a single person played Zheng Hua, and we did a whole video on her.
I almost played Zheng. I kept telling myself I was going to build left, and then I just never did.
I told chat, I was like, because this was on Friday when I did a short stream when there was no stream for me to commentate, but I still kind of chatted with people. They asked me, they're like, why aren't you there? And I blah, 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 blah. And they're like, well, what would you have played? And I was like, honestly, I think I probably would build Zheng Hua. And then singles happened the next day and nobody played Zheng Hua. And I was like, huh, I really missed out. And then they're like, do you think you would have won with the Zheng Hua deck? And I was like, no, I would lose instantly to this deck. If I played against Mark, I'd lose. Yin and Yang is the only answer, or I guess Precise Blow, and he has answers to it. So
Zheng Hua actually does have a lot of answers. Like, being able to selectively pick up Precise Blow is pretty good against the deck. Like, it's just awkward when they have double Shintenketsu.
Yeah, exactly. And question, because of Shintenketsu, Mark, did you not even sideboard Protecting the Protector?
No, I didn't play Protecting the Protector at all.
That's what I thought.
Which was everyone's question. Everyone was, how are you getting the momentum for Protecting the Protector? Is that why you're running Fatality? And my answer was,
no.
I was like, I ain't no bitch. Like,
I specifically took Protecting the Protector out of that deck. I was like, this card is garbage.
It just doesn't work in that deck. I get it.
What did I add, Jim?
Yeah, new enhancements. You had the spice. I get it. But
I thought Shintenketsu, though, was hype.
Shintenketsu was only.
The first game that you showed up on stream and you played 2 of them in back-to-back games, I was like, all right, everybody's buying Shintenketsus now.
That's all. I was like, this card is the answer to keep this deck alive. It would be garbage if that card didn't exist.
And he did use it once to kill someone. I think it was on top at tops.
He used it in rounds against me too.
Takeda went to no cards in hand, and I was like, well, I guess I could just Shintenketsu here instead of trying to sagas it.
Yeah, he killed me with a double.
Kevin, anything you want to add?
Onto a Shield Big Bang.
I mean, as far as like the overall like feel of the tournament, and like we had a lot of new players come out, a lot of first timers to this major event. Like, regardless of Cassandra sweeping the whole thing or anything like that, everybody seemed to be like in a really good like mood, so to speak. Like, everybody was feeling that competitive vibe. Like, they didn't feel like they were out, or like everybody was just like going for it. There was like this aura at the event that like everybody was just having a good time, which was like really cool to see every time we go to it.
I got that feeling on stream, honestly, too. Like, I really did. Like, I thought the few times I would turn on the actual sound and like people with the lapel mics would chat and stuff, like there were only a few occasions where like maybe we got a little heated or people would get a little tilted. Like, there was only a few times, but like.
Are you trying to tell me I wore that lapel mic for nothing?
I mean,
what?
There were 2 separate streams, JJ. If you watched the Legendary Wolf stream, you got to listen to them, and if you listen to my stream, you got to listen to my beautiful voice. Okay.
I only listen to yours.
Okay, sounds good. Scott, last things to say?
Oh, no, not really.
Oh, okay, that sounds good. I'm okay with that. It helps us sum this up, I guess. JJ, do you have anything to say?
Shout out to Legendary Wolf Games.
Shout out. Take your gaming from ordinary to legendary. That's right, guys.
Legendary to ordinary. I mean, ordinary to legendary.
Legendary to ordinary. Oh my god. Perfect. Man, it'll be interesting to see what else we have coming up after this. PTC season starts next month in March, but I don't know. Most of the PTCs are pretty far for us until later.
Yeah, I'm not going to any events until Omaha, so...
They're really spread out.
Yeah.
Omaha and Rockford, and then...
Ooh, other question I'll end this with. I think we'll end with this. As a consensus, is Shield Big Bang getting banned?
100%.
Oh yeah.
I think it'll get errata.
talk about
no
that.
doubt in my mind, it's going to be tough.
You can
It's going to
tell
be at least errated.
At the very minimum, they're ratted.
they printed that Infinity asset to be a Band-Aid. You can tell.
Yeah. Well,
That was
but they
So-
print it as a Band-Aid, but it's also
It
helps
only
her.
helps.
It also
Yeah.
helps.
also helps her.
Yeah. So is
Oh.
the Band-Aid actually a Band-Aid?
No.
There was
So
Because here's the thing. Because this verdant slaughter thing exists under Earth, I don't think they can make enough Band-Aids.
well, because you can only put band-aids in seal and flip.
Seal and flip.
Those are the only, which they did. They gave that to Talim Foundation, and then
Well, and the asset seals, right?
the asset seals that weapon.
So, like,
So I mean, like, possible.
But I mean, Shitenketsu hits all those answers, so
right.
Yeah.
like
Sure,
The
yeah.
And then you just put protecting the protector and like some power with loves in the deck,
what's that, Scott?
and
That just means you have to up your Shitenketsu count.
Yeah, dude. How many did you play?
3. I'll just play 4.
Yeah, play 4
Yeah.
instead. Easy peasy. Okay,
If
well,
they don't-
I wanted to know, and
Yeah.
so I just didn't know what y'all's opinion, because chat was like, "This is getting banned. This is getting banned. This is getting banned," and I was like, "Yeah, I mean, it
ooh, I
could."
forgot to start my laundry.
I was playing a Shield Big Bang deck too because I have 3 in my deck and
Right.
like 10 assets.
It was
Well-
not as oppressive in playtesting with JJ because we're so used to counterplaying each other. But the moment it left us playtesting each other against, and we just went up against other players,
You
playing
should-
other
It became
just-
stuff,
amazing.
You became Swiss champ, like,
Well, it's because no one knew that you were running it.
yeah,
Like,
oh yeah. That's true.
It was a
Specifically.
surprise factor. They thought they had this one game because they could stop you, and then you're like, "Sorry, I'm taking this first game," and then you have to try and figure it out.
It's like one of those
Game 2
things
and
where, like,
3.
I think, like, oh man, Lilith against this deck like destroys it, and you're like, actually,
Boom. One Shitenketsu. Sorry, Lilith, you lost.
you're like, I just won't play Shield Bank until I draw Shitenketsu against Lilith, and
Or you have 2 of them. Like you draw
Yeah.
a second Shield Bang, you're like, "Oh shucks, I have to play them on 6s."
Lilith, you're like,
Oh,
sorry, man.
no.
Castaway and Forgotten. Here's the second one.
They used the Bell Foundation. Here's the second one. Here's the third one.
Yeah,
It'd be
so
that way sometimes.
I get it. I totally get it. That's great. You know, like, I mean, y'all found this deck and you fine-tuned it, and I don't think you guys obviously were like the first ones to think like, oh, only Shield Big Bang kind of Cassandra, but you guys definitely, I think, tuned it up the quickest and brought it, and you won.
We
so.
actually put the counters to it in. Like a lot of the people were just playing the Shield Big Bang with a bunch of answers so they can never die.
Mhm.
Like Dan Hughes was playing it with just 4 Shield Big Bang, 1 Power with Love, and then protecting the protector to try and use the momentum from Power with Love. That was his answer.
Which isn't enough. Like,
No, because like you can hit the foundation and
right. Was he also playing Verdant Slaughter?
no.
Right.
He didn't know. He didn't even think about that.
I don't think anybody did.
No one else ran Verdant Slaughter other than Kevin, who tested with us so that he knew about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Which is really good. That's the spicy Omaha tech
Yep.
that we don't know if it actually works. I mean, what?
90. We're 90% sure.
Yeah, we're
180% guarantee.
Okay. All right. I think the last thing is oh, I know. What are you gonna put on your card, guys?
On the asset?
Yeah, the asset. Because since you two are here.
My asset pending is already going to be Renaissance Christ painting related.
Good. What about
So
this
this one, how about this one?
Mark, what do you think? Forget the characters for a second. What do you think about the asset?
I have no idea. I haven't even thought about it. We'd have to talk to Shane. This was the most fun team I've ever been on, and I can say that even with my other 2 teammates from the past year. We had such a good time being idiots.
I believe it. You were saying that already months. You were saying that the
You're saying that
day-
before you even went into it,
Yeah,
dude.
you were saying. You were already saying
Everything
that.
I predicted our team would be met my expectations. We were the stupidest team I had ever met. And you should have seen us in our top cut. We were at the Joliseum. All 3 of us were in the bathroom, nervous, and we were taking turns peeing and rotating around the room, talking about how we were going to pair. like it was 3 dudes not looking at each other, face rotating for like 20 minutes talking about.
Were you like who we're gonna pair for our first matchup, and then based off what they're gonna do?
All we were talking about
Yeah.
and who they were. And oh man,
I talked about it for 30 minutes on stream.
This kid wanted to play Phil.
I know.
So bad. He was in the back.
He still wants to. Look at him.
He was like, guys, give me Phil.
Listen,
like, give me Phil. And we were like, no, Scott, you can't.
You guys obviously haven't been watching enough Painus Griebler videos to know how badly he wanted that so bad.
If I had known how bad your Voldo game went, I would have definitely gotten Phil. I would have definitely paired me into Phil if I knew your Voldo game was like by a thread and you shouldn't have won it.
Oh, my Voldo game was exactly how I predicted.
Oh, good job.
He predicted that the guy wouldn't take one out, and then he knew he was winning with that shield.
That's what we call a gift. That's a gift.
That's what Mama calls it.
You were gifted that game.
Yeah, I was gifted.
The fact that you also drew the only one left—that's what blows my mind. Like on the next turn.
like 40 cards left.
You draw 5 cards out of 40, and it happens to be the one that he.
All right.
Just marks the sack.
All right, we're up on an hour. Before we make Scott quit this game, everybody, thanks so much for tuning into our post-World show. I'll have this up immediately just so I can spite Scott. He doesn't think I'll get it up fast enough. But thanks so much for tuning in. Kevin, thanks so much for joining us. Mark, JJ, Scott, congratulations and great job on the weekend. Everybody, I hope everybody that went to Worlds got to see what an amazing kind of card game that we have, and it only gets bigger after this. I think as a game, it only gets better, and I think the people keep getting better. I think everybody now is incredibly terrified of Mark Tyner, and people didn't even know who he was a year ago. So
ready for Mark Tyner 3 at Nationals. I can't wait, dude.
And hey, you can always find him here on Universes Studios. Feel free to comment below if you want to talk about anything. I'll make sure to keep an eye out on him, and subscribe to us to keep up on content as well.
Yeah, we'll make the new leader answer.
Oh, okay.
The new person in the lead.
You're right. Yeah, that's right. Mark's now in the lead, so he owns everything. So
yeah.
Thanks so much, guys. Thanks for joining me, and we'll see you guys in the next one.